We're back with Alden Chodash of AldenBoxing.com. After a 2-week summer vacation, Alden, you're tanned, rested, and ready to give us your opinions on the state of boxing. First of all, a couple weeks back, it was Margarito beating Miguel Cotto, causing Cotto to suffer what I thought was a devastating defeat. Do you think Cotto can rebound from that loss?
It's going to be very difficult. I haven't heard too much from Cotto's camp since the defeat. They're definitely going to take some time off, rightfully so. Whether he can rebound is definitely a question, but he shouldn't go after too vulnerable of opposition in his first fight back, basically because that wouldn't prove anything and prove where Cotto stands at this point of his career.
So he should be looking for a big name, you're saying? Like
he should be looking for not the biggest name, not the toughest match, but an opponent about the level of Joshua Clottey. That'd be a good fight for him right now if Clottey doesn't end up facing the new welterweight champion, Antonio Margarito, which would be a great matchup. Both the winner, Margarito, and the loser, Miguel Cotto, would be good names for Joshua Clottey, who looked pretty good against Judah this past weekend.
You didn't think Margarito was going to win. What did he do that caused him to come out with a victory?
He closed the gap. Eventually, after 10 rounds of taking punches, getting outboxed, he slowly started to win rounds, started to close the gap, and Cotto ran out of gas because he was getting hit. He didn't run out of gas because of the way he was boxing. He had the ability and the conditioning to box like that all 12 rounds, but Margarito finally started to make contact, especially to the body. He started to hit him on the arms and just broke Cotto down with his style and just imposed his will and eventually got his way.
There's no way that Cotto is going to beat Margarito in a potential rematch, do you think?
Definitely not right now. Probably never. That style could prove as Cotto's downfall if he continues to reign in the welterweight or even higher in those divisions. Guys that are able to take his punches and able to walk him down, which nevertheless is very few, would be able to give Cotto a lot of trouble and possibly beat him, but not many fighters have the determination Margarito brought to the ring that day, so therefore Cotto still would be able to box good punchers and guys similar to Margarito. Just Margarito was a special fighter that night, and Cotto probably won't wind up getting a rematch with Margarito, probably never. But Margarito set the blueprint for fighters that would give Cotto a lot of problems.
Let's say Margarito Williams 2 does not come off. Who do you think would win, Paul Williams, Miguel Cotto?
Paul Williams is an exception to that rule. He's a fighter that can box, and he's tall enough to keep Miguel Cotto at long range. Definitely not the fight Cotto would be looking for at this stage in his career, right after Margarito beat him up and stopped him in the 11th round. Paul Williams is not the kind of fighter that would break Cotto down. He's the kind of fighter that has the ability to outbox him or keep him at long range, but it still would be a question whether he could hold up for 12 rounds against a guy like Cotto, who's still somewhat of a more complete technical fighter than Margarito, who was able to score in the late rounds against Williams last year.
Right. And Margarito Williams 2, that probably is going to happen. Do you think Margarito can win it this time?
He proved that he was strong enough to worry Williams in the late rounds. Williams started to show some signs of fatigue. If Margarito is able to start more quickly, he will have a more reasonable chance on the scorecards, maybe even a reasonable chance of getting Williams out of there, because Williams' legs were starting to buckle slightly under the punches of Margarito, but he just started too late. But on the other hand, he didn't start too quickly against Miguel Cotto either, although he was trying definitely to make contact with Cotto as early as the second round.
Okay. Moving on, Bernard Hopkins in his last 3 fights have fought fellas that are definitely up there in age: Winky Wright, Tarver, Calzaghe. Now he's fighting Kelly Pavlik. How is Hopkins going to handle a youngster like Pavlik?
I don't think he's going to win that fight. Definitely not because of age, however. Pavlik is far different than Tarver, Wright, and Calzaghe. Very awkward fighters. Maybe you could count out Antonio Tarver in that picture as a very awkward fighter, but Winky Wright, definitely very awkward and tough to find. Calzaghe, number 2 in the world, pound for pound, for a reason, because he's the most awkward fighter and maybe the quickest or one of the quickest handed fighters in the world today. But Pavlik is a slower fighter. He's taller than the majority of the trio that Hopkins has beaten and lost to in his last 3 fights. I think his height's going to play a big role in that fight. He's very athletic. He's determined. He definitely is determined to beat Bernard Hopkins, unlike Antonio Tarver when they fought, and maybe you could make a case for Winky Wright when they fought. But Hopkins is going to have a hard time finding Pavlik. Pavlik's a tall fighter that knows how to apply his height. And I think he's going to beat him similarly to the way that Taylor narrowly beat him when in both of their fights.
Okay. We only have about a minute remaining. Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, that rumor refuses to die. First of all, do you want to see that fight?
That rumor must die. Definitely.
They're still talking, though. It certainly
It would
can
not
happen.
look good on De La Hoya's career winner resume, win or lose. It wouldn't. It would be a ugly blot on his legacy, definitely, just by taking the fight with Pacquiao.
Even if it was a competitive fight?
Even if it was a competitive fight, there's too much to lose for Oscar De La Hoya. If it's a competitive fight, there is still something to lose. He's competitive with a guy that reigned at flyweight. But although Pacquiao could still probably give welterweights trouble, he should be facing the best in the 135 and 130-pound division, because let's face it, those are the 2 most exciting divisions in boxing today, and guys in those divisions have proven to be competitive with Pacquiao, most notably Juan Manuel Marquez, who's got to get past Casamiro to get a rematch. But those are the guys he should be facing, not De La Hoya.
Okay. Thanks, Alden, for talking to us.